The seventh tale, how the little girl became queen. The little girl. In Xanadu, the kingdom in the clouds, the ruler always possessed many a mysterious power, not least the ability to make the most prescient of prophecies. This is the story of one such ruler, of whom little was expected when first she ascended to the throne. Xanadu's new ruler was a little girl, cowardly and weak. Though it was a peaceful place with a temperate climate and few, if any, monsters, Xanadu had never known a cowardly ruler. The thought alone was simply preposterous. The girl herself knew that she was a coward, having never displayed courage or daring since the moment of her birth. She was scared of sleeping alone, and the thought of being in the temple at night filled her with a holy dread. Despite claiming that she had a well of courage to draw on if necessary, she would undoubtedly have been found wanting if she had been asked to deal with a giant or a dragon or even a lion. Life surrounded by adults was lonely and dull for the little girl. She had no friends and became very sullen. As a result, everyone assumed that she was humble and wise, for most of those who rise to rule over Xanadu are powerful sorceresses and prone to self-importance. Though baseless, the myth of the little girl's wisdom meant that her reign was very peaceful, with none of the tensions or infighting that marred the reigns of her predecessors. Sinister rumors. She had not ruled for long, however, when it became apparent that a dragon had taken up residence near Xanadu, in a great cavern measureless to man. Alas, this was no ordinary dragon. Indeed, it was said to be as large as a castle, utterly evil, and endowed with a tail twice 5 miles long. Such sinister rumors grew, as sinister rumors always do, and by the time they'd reached the palace, they had the courtiers in a state of some excitement. After much frantic discussion, a conclusion was reached. Their ruler, the little girl, must be sent to deal with the dragon. Though she was still young, everyone believed her to be both wise and brave, and it was concluded that her age was of no significance. Thus, having no choice but to fulfill the duty assigned to her, the little girl set off to the dragon's cavern. A savage place. The waning moon cast scarcely any light into the dismal cavern, and big wet drops fell into the little girl's head as she made her way through the darkness, nervously clutching her wand. Though she quivered with fear, she knew she had little choice but to push on. She was the ruler of Xanadu, after all, and rulers must show courage, however frightened they may be. Having pushed deep into the cavern, the girl finally encountered the dragon. It was not as big as she feared, but it would still have ordinarily been more than a match for a little girl like her. The dragon, however, was injured. One of his wings was broken, and he was unable to fly. Indeed, he had no way at all of avoiding the little girl's spells. It seems the table had been turned in her favor. Just then, the dragon turned to her and said, "You came alone. I suppose you knew I was injured. I shall surely perish soon. All you need do is wait, and your duty shall be fulfilled." But the little girl took out her wand and proceeded to draw a rune. The spell she cast began to heal the dragon's wounds. Being so young, it took a long time for the healing magic to work, but her concentration never wavered. "Heal me, and I could come after you and eat you. Are you sure about what you're doing?" The little girl thought for a moment before replying politely. "I should not like to be eaten, yet I do not see why you should die. Perhaps we could reach an agreement instead. I will heal your wing if you swear to spare this kingdom." The dragon made no reply and simply gazed at the girl with flashing eyes. Once its wing had been fully healed, the dragon picked up the little girl and, placing her on his broad back, strode out of the cavern. Then, flexing his newly healed wing, he carried the girl to the summit of a tall mountain. As the dragon reached the top of the mountain, it seemed to grow in front of the girl's eyes. At last, it began to resemble the castle-sized dragon that the courtiers of Xanadu had mentioned. Indeed, it began to look as though it could eat a castle thrice over. "This is my true self," declared the dragon. "Now, you may be weak, but you are both courageous and kind. My original intent was to eat every one of your subjects, but I've decided to honor our bargain and spare this kingdom." The dragon's kind words touched the little girl deeply, and the two of them became great friends. Then the dragon shrank back to his smaller size and put the girl on his back again, and together they made for Xanadu. When they reached the city, however, the dragon grew big once more. When the little girl explained what had happened to her courtiers, they realized not only that she was wise and brave, but also that she was also very kind. From that moment on, she was no longer referred to as the little girl. She became the Queen of the Heavens. She never forgot her dragon friend, and they spoke together often until the end of their days. And that, as they say, is that.